This morning, I have Ali from American Tungsten. Of course, everybody's talking about tungsten as the #1 military metal. Good morning. Now, it's my understanding that American Tungsten has one of the largest competitive edges of any tungsten play in that your production plan of action is quite quick. Would you like to talk to us about this?
Would love to, Tracy. Great to be here. In terms of the Ima mine that we hold in Idaho, it is a past producer, was in production till about 1960, however, has had operators that have drilled in excess of 35,000 feet since that date. The other advantage that we have is, we've got a fair bit of data to look at the resource potential, but also we have an adit system that's well above the water table, which means we have no discharge from any of our adits. We sit on private and patented land, and with our DSO model that we're looking to employ, given our very high grade of 0.63, permitting is not required from a federal perspective, I beg your pardon. And from a state perspective, it is rather quick and easy. So we're told, given our conversations with Congressman Simpson's office and Senator Rich's office in Idaho. So our path to production, given our very high grade, our private patented land, and the DSO model is significantly quicker than any of our peers in North America.
So, with regards to your response and the competitive advantage of American Tungsten, high grade is an element that perhaps we should discuss just a little bit more. Can you explain that to our audience?
Of course, looking at the average grade of tungsten mines around the world, particularly in Australia, for instance, and if you look at a couple down in Nevada, you'll have grades of anywhere between 0.11 all the way up to 0.23. The grade at American Tungsten sits at about 0.63, so relatively high. In fact, it's probably amongst the top 3 highest grades in the world. And that, of course, increases your economics with respect to shipping the DSO model that we are envisioning. The advantage that we have beyond the 0.63 of tungsten is the fact that we have 2 ounces per ton of silver. That equates to about $77 to $82 per ton in credits, and then 0.15% of moly. So between $18 and $22 that would be credited for the moly system as well. So about $100 that come back to the company in terms of credits with respect to every ton of ore mined. And again, not to discount the fact that 0.63 is an extremely favorable grade for production.
And of course, everybody's talking about the benefits of speed and collaboration, and nobody is working more efficiently than American Tungsten. Your management announcements and board announcements have been incredibly impressive, and there have been numerous announcements recently. Can you hit some of the highlights, please?
Would love to. This is a project that is near and dear to me, given my critical metals experience over the last few years. I built relationships with various individuals that I thought would be a good fit for the organization to help us move forward. One of those individuals is Dan Nicholas. He is a senior advisor to EY, so essentially a consultant to a consultancy, where he helps public and private companies raise non-dilutive capital from various government agencies. He's able to do so because he ran the Department of Energy's Loan Program Office, where he was responsible for the largest fund in their history at $40 billion to grant that to various organizations around the United States. He was a banker at Morgan Stanley and Solis, so great to have that banking experience. The other individual I'd like to highlight is Jim Whitaker, or James Whitaker, Chief Operating Officer of Capstone Copper, about a $6.5 billion copper behemoth, ex-president of Escondida, worked at BHP and Barrick, has built mines around the world. So we've got mine builders, government relationships on our board. In terms of our technical team, one of the key additions that we made as recently as this week is David Sabarin. David Sabarin is our VP Mining Engineering, and he's tasked with building our plant to production. He's had experience building underground mines historically, and we're very, very fortunate to have him come on board.
You mentioned this project is near and dear to you, and I always recommend to our audience go to the CEO's LinkedIn account to check out their background. So I do recommend everybody do that. But you mentioned in Investor Talk yesterday that you also have an intriguing way in which you decide to put out news releases. You said every news release we're going to put out will offer a value asset creation. Did I get that correct? And can you comment on that?
Absolutely. There are various organizations, and I think it's imperative for juniors to tell as much of a story as they possibly can to differentiate themselves from their peers and their competition. However, I think news flow should be material and it should be value creation. So a credit to the shareholders, as well as the value proposition of the company. So each time a press release is put out by the company, we will ensure that it highlights a material change in our operational model. It's offering an advantage with respect to advancing the project. Or the team, quite frankly. So the intent for us is not to put out news that perhaps is repeating what has already been said in the market. We will be putting out news that's very specific to our organization, whereby we will highlight why we are generating value.
So high grade, you're going to be undoubtedly the first tungsten mine to production in the next year and a half. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we're anticipating 12 to 18 months from today to production. And again, the DSO model with a grade of 0.63 per ton.
A world-class board and management team. And so what should we be looking forward to in the next quarter?
Well, we just completed a very significant financing. We announced $2.5 million. We raised $7 million. We have institutions that have come in as part of that. So we have sticky money that's validated our value proposition. We are currently rehabilitating our mine site. So we have the roads currently being completed for a safe passage for heavy vehicles. We also have timber being delivered this week for the portal rehabilitation, and we will continue to advance the project to a state where we have our pads to drill our 6,000 to 10,000 feet, put out an updated resource statement in the fall, and then move towards the investment decisions that allow us to come online with production in 12 to 18 months.
So for those of you interested in more information on American Tungsten, please go to the following website. And Ali, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.